Hi guys, I'm Jem Jalal,
Tobias Mayer.
and we are back at it with the £800 Agile Gorilla.
On the streets of Shoreditch, where it's pretty chilly today.
It is. So we're going to throw some energy into this. We're going to start with a question that's very popular, and let the motorbikes pass. Should Scrum Masters be technical?
Yeah. Should Scrum Masters have technical backgrounds? Should they have at one time been developers?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, it's a question I get asked a lot, especially in running Scrum Master clinics on a regular basis. It's get a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds come there, and they feel that they can't do the role, or they shouldn't do the role, or they're not allowed to do the role, or they have to go away and learn some programming language before they can do the role. And frankly, it's all nonsense, I think.
You think?
Because it's very clear that a Scrum Master does not need to have technical background.
Okay.
What do you think? What's your thought on it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to think about many of my colleagues who are developers and they want to do Scrum and they might be in a position of seniority already. And they're like, hey, I've done a CSM or I've learned a bit about Scrum. I want to take on the Scrum Master role.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
It's not to say you can't be a Scrum Master if you have once been a developer.
You're right, and I think this is the thing about should you be technical to be a Scrum Master. And I in my experience, I think it works better when maybe you're not technical.
It can do. I think it would work better if you are able to put your technical know-how aside.
Can you do that?
Well, it can be tough, And my own experience of becoming a Scrum Master was coming from a development background. But, I was other things before I was a developer.
Yeah.
And my focus has mainly been working with people rather than machines. So, but when I was a Scrum Master, in the early days, with technical knowledge, I would assume to know things that I didn't need to know or probably didn't know that well. And it took me a while before I realised I had to sort of let go of that.
Okay.
I wasn't keeping up with the technical know-how in the way that developers were, so I needed to keep my mouth shut.
Okay.
And the more I assumed to know, the less of an effective Scrum Master I was.
When we say technical, because it seems like such a generic term, people are like, what do you mean by technical? Is that like understanding the basics in just what technology is in a software development environment? Is it somebody that can actually write code? Do you see what I'm saying? So, because on the other side of the extreme is, you have no Scooby as to what a computer is, and you're working with a software development team, and because you don't understand things at all, can you be useful? Do you see what I mean? How are you going to remove that impediment or facilitate that conversation with an external dependency or crush a dysfunction, right? If you can't understand the context of it.
Because you've got at least 7 people around you who do understand the context, right?
Right.
That's it, and you support those people to take that work on themselves. The more you know, the more you do, the less they will do.
Yes,
so you're continuing the disempowerment.
This is
tradition.
True. But what actually happens though, when you're having the conversation with a team who think you have been brought in to remove impediments, and that means you know what they're doing, and by you asking, "Can you help?" they may say this: "He's not a very good, or she's not a very good Scrum Master." So I'll give you why some people are incentivized to want to become technical. You said, hey, someone's come along and I need to learn about programming languages or more tech to be a Scrum Master. I think the thinking behind that is that some teams expect the Scrum Master to be technical. And when that Scrum Master's shown their vulnerability, that they don't know the deeper detail, the team may then see them as not useful.
They might do, yeah. But you've got to remember that people have all kinds of expectations of a Scrum Master that are usually wrong.
True.
Wrong. I mean, they're unreasonable expectations. They're expectations of a different role, not a Scrum Master role.
Yep.
So part of the Scrum Master's job is to socialise Scrum.
Yep.
It's to teach people what this way of working is. And so they need to do that, and they need to be clear that I'm not here as a technical advisor. I'm not your manager. I'm not an engineering expert. I might have an engineering background, but I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I will help out if I absolutely have to. If you really need me to, and I can, I will. But for the most part, I'm going to bounce questions back to you, so you can resolve these things for yourselves.
I can really see how, and this is common, people hire you and they don't know what they've actually hired you for. You with me? They've hired you thinking you're a Scrum Master, which is actually some sort of manager. So the second you try and socialise it and educate, you could be seen as a real problem. Because now You're telling me I've hired you to help teams self-organize, to create an environment to, you know, find things out for themselves. We don't have time for that. We have to deliver. Are you with me? So
yeah.
you know, you've got to be. There's got to be some fearlessness there with this.
There has, yeah. And what can I say to that? I mean, you know, the truth is there are many people who are attracted to the role of Scrum Master who actually do not have technical background. Now, scrambling around to try and learn JavaScript in a few days or Ruby or something else isn't really going to serve you that well.
It's true.
It will make you look more stupid if you try and pretend to know something that you don't actually know.
Yeah.
So just be brave and say, I am not a technical person. I'm not here to support you technically. I'm here for a different role. Let's talk about what that is. Right, and if you don't know what it is, then you probably shouldn't be in the role.
there you go, guys. There you go. So I feel like.
But there's another aspect to this, Jim, as well that I think it's worth mentioning here. In that, you know, having been a Scrum Master in a number of different occasions, I was able to let go of the technical stuff. That wasn't hard to let go because I just wasn't keeping up. So when you're not keeping up, you're falling behind. So I was able to let go of that. But the other thing I ran into was when I was a Scrum Master working with teams who were building software that I used.
Yes.
I was not a very good Scrum Master.
Interesting.
Because I had opinions.
Right.
I had opinions. I had feature requests. I had
you
stuff
go.
for the backlog.
It's hard to detach from that,
it's
right?
really hard to detach
when you're
from
in
that.
it. You're in it now.
So I've been in companies where I haven't had a clue what they're building. It's really just beyond my comprehension. It's above my pay grade, perhaps. Really clever stuff, you know, stuff that I had no idea what it was. And then I was a good Scrum Master. Those were the times when I could be a good Scrum Master because I could focus on what needed to be done to support rather than having an opinion.
But so you can see how incredibly taboo this is to say a good Scrum Master is one that doesn't have to have deep domain knowledge or technical knowledge of what you're doing.
Yeah, as a good Scrum Master, you can be a better Scrum Master. You have zero technical knowledge of the technology the team is working with and zero knowledge of the product itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then I think you can be good.
Well,
counterintuitive.
And now the team have to self-organise.
Yeah, they do.
But
that's my experience. You know, I'm talking about this not as a theoretical thing. It is my experience.
And empirically, likewise, I've had a number of roles, and I'm not from a technical background. I may have written code once upon a time, very early in my career, but I'm not technical.
Right.
And I think it served me reasonably well. And at times that I felt that the pressure to say, you know, learn more about a new programming language or learn more about different tech is because the person who's hired me has created that pressure and to say you're not a good Scrum Master because you can't pair with that developer and show them how to do test-driven development.
Right.
But that's not what I'm there for.
Good job.
Yeah, go and get an engineer who's good with XP.
Go and buy an XP coach.
Right.
Which you should have. If you don't know how to do XP, you should have an XP coach.
Yeah. And of course what they were doing was they were hiring developers who were not at a certain level of expertise and skill, and they were trying to compensate by bringing the Scrum Master to say, no, you should be the technical lead. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So you don't want to pay for the skill and the experience? Don't look to me for it. It's not what I'm there for.
Yeah, and this is going to take us onto a whole other topic of hybrid Scrum Master roles, which we're not going to go down that pathway right now.
No, we're not.
Wrap this up, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. So we seem to have another clear answer on this one today. Yeah. You should not have to be technical.
Yeah. You might be, but it's not a necessity. And I know lots of good Scrum Masters who do not have technical backgrounds. And
likewise.
They can be completely awesome. So.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We look forward to your interactions and your comments. Please let us know your views, and we'd love to take on your opinions. Till next time.
Cheers.